Hello, we are group 39 and we're going to explain the paper of Berger and Hann about segment profitability and the propriety and agency cost of disclosure. Dagobert earns a lot of money. Which strategy does he apply to make so much money compared with his competitors? To start off, let's introduce you the purpose of this research paper. What motivates managers to hide line of business information via segment aggregation? The motivation of managers is based on the trade-off between proprietary cost and agency cost of disclosure. First, let us explain both types of costs. The definition of proprietary costs is not sharing beneficial information with competitors. The definition of agency cost is providing too less information to the principal and as a consequence difficult to monitor. Under SFIS 14, companies had to provide less detailed information with regard to profitability. Since transition to SFIS 131, firms have to provide more detailed information with regard to segment profitability. To investigate the earlier indicated research question, two hypotheses are used in this paper. The first one is about proprietary cost. When a proprietary cost motive dominates, managers tend to withhold the segment with relatively high abnormal profits. This example indicates that Dagobert would only provide detailed information about the low profit segments and the less as possible information about the high profit segments. The other hypothesis is about agency costs. When the agency cost motive dominates, managers tend to withhold the segments with relatively low abnormal profits. This example indicates that Dagobert would only provide detailed information about the high profit segments and the less as possible information about the less profit segments. Berger and Hann assume that proprietary costs and agency costs are complements, meaning that Dagobert has to make a trade-off between those two costs. Previous literature assumed that proprietary costs and agency costs are substitutes. This implicates that there is no trade-off between those two costs. The sample consists of 796 firms, where data has been collected manually. Those firms consist 2,310 divisions, which indicates that there are 2,310 different operating profit-loss segments. Berger and Hann split the sample into two groups. One group has only been tested for the proprietary hypothesis, the other group has only been tested for the agency hypothesis. The following 5 measurements of profit were used to measure profitability of a division: earnings before interest and taxation, pre-tax income, earnings before interest, taxation, depreciation and amortization, income before extraordinary items, and gross profit. The results of hypothesis 1 about proprietary costs are mixed. This implies that there is no evidence that managers tend to withhold the segment with relatively high abnormal profits if the proprietary cost motive dominates. Hypothesis 2 about agency costs is confirmed. This implies that managers tend to withhold the segment with relatively low abnormal profits if the agency cost motive dominates. The conclusion of Berger and Hann's paper is that under SFIS 14 managers withhold more information in comparison with SFIS 131. But under SFIS 131, managers still withhold some information that should be provided in accordance with SFIS 131. If the agency cost dominates, Dagobert has less opportunities to withhold information. Under the guidelines of SFIS 131, Dagobert is required to disclose information on a disaggregated basis. In practice, this means that also very financially healthy business divisions should be disclosed.
Created using Powtoon.